On this episode of Simply, we're going green with a visit to the largest topiary garden in North America, along with their colorful new exhibition for the summer. Meet Amber and Amy over at the Roger Williams Park Zoo. Then we're soaring to Horizon Wings to check out a raptor's rescue. All before Chef Nick puts his spin on a game night dip. Simply New England is presented by Cranston's Wines and More and Star. Work where you love. Hey folks, welcome to Simply. I'm your host, Becky Gibble, and it's June, which means all the youth are on the hunt for summer employment. That includes you, Henry. Everyone here at Simply needs to pull their weight, and let's face it, even kibble isn't inflation-proof. Henry's already got several interviews lined up for today, so let's follow along as Henry goes on the search for a summer job. It's gonna be a great show. Stick around. Hey folks, welcome back. Now for Henry's first job interview, we head to Green Animals, a topiary garden in Portsmouth. Henry's job coach says dress for the job you want. So, Henry's dressed for success. Let's check it out.
We are at Green Animals Topiary Gardens in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. It's an 1860s, 19th, early 20th century gentleman's farm, completely intact. And it was the summer home of the Brayton family from Fall River. And in the early 20th century, they developed it into this topiary garden that you see that was completely self-sustaining. They had vegetables and fruits and everything, but they also had a gardener from the Azores who was totally into topiary, and that's why you see what you see today.
The topiaries were actually created in the early 20th century by Joseph Carreiro, who was a Portuguese immigrant that was hired by the Brayton family to create ornamental horticulture. And the topiary traditions in Portuguese culture came out very strongly, and he chose animals as a very fun and fanciful way of essentially making an ornamental garden a little bit more interesting and whimsy.
Over time, the first gardener, Joe Carreiro, was succeeded by his son-in-law, George Mendonça, and he continued to make topiary up until the 1980s. And they strictly did things from memory, from the Azores. There was no plan on paper. It was all what they knew. They wanted to have a garden that was, they call it enfilade, a bunch of little rooms all next to each other that you wander through, and you never see the whole thing at once. So as you walk around, you discover things. And in all, they were here for over 100 years working on the same garden. Alice Brayton, who bequeathed the property to us in 1971, was one of the founding members of the Preservation Society. She helped to save Hunter House in Newport, which was our first property. She was very much involved in preservation efforts. And so she didn't want her gardens to go away. I mean, she watched this man create them for decades and wanted to make sure they were safeguarded. So she bequeathed them to us.
This is a fantastic garden. It's the largest topiary garden in North America, which I think is pretty impressive. There are more than 80 different animals here, all sculpted by hand, by real artists.
When you're working out in the garden, you hear a lot of oohs and ahs as people turn the corner or when kids run around the corner and see the next thing. But I think they're also just surprised by the fact that everything is intact. All of the outbuildings from a 19th century farm are all still here, untouched and preserved. And that's unusual for this part of the country.
Even today, we try to garden in the same way that the Azorean gardeners of 100 years ago gardened. We try not to disrupt their routines, to keep the tradition going and to do things the way it was being done before.
Green Animals actually has its own chief horticulturalist, and he works here full-time, year-round, cultivating plants, growing plants in our greenhouse, and also maintaining all of the different plant materials that are here, annuals and creating perennials too. So it has its own horticulturalist and also a really competent and incredibly talented group of volunteers who painstakingly make this garden look its best.
There's a fragility about a garden like Green Animals. If you care about nature, you have to be very respectful of it. And things can go wrong. Sometimes An ice storm will crack the neck of the giraffe and we have to start all over again, but that's a topiary garden. I think this is a very magical place, and this is not something that you see regularly, so I think it really impresses people. It is whimsical, it's fun. It's a place that not only children but adults love as well.
Out and About is brought to you by Harbor One. Find your harbor at harborone.com. Well, Henry, turns out the old adage is true. It's not easy being green. But don't worry, we've got another opportunity. Next up, we head to Roger Williams Park Zoo, where Henry's gonna try to score an interview to be an animal ambassador. Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Jen Hennessy. I'm a zookeeper here in the Faces of the Rainforest at Roger Williams Park Zoo. These are two of my best buds, Angel and Amy, and they are hyacinth macaws. Hyacinth macaws are the largest of the flighted parrots. So hyacinth macaws eat mostly nuts in the wild, and they have some amazing adaptations to crack through these nuts. These are macadamia nuts, and I don't know about you, but I cannot open them with a regular nutcracker. You can see she's already through it. She cut it in half and is now getting all the yummy meat from the macadamia nut. But when they actually eat the nut, they use the bottom of the beak like a chisel. So they'll scrape away little pieces of the nut and it turns into a little powder, and that's how they actually eat it. So hyacinth macaws have great adaptations for getting the nuts and eating the nuts that they eat in the wild. They have a bone in their tongue that acts like a finger, so they'll roll the macadamia nut or whatever nut they're eating around in their mouth until they get a really good seam, and then they'll use the pressure of the bottom beak to open up that nut. Now people, we have a bite pressure of about 110 PSI. Their bite pressure is between 500 and 700. So they have power in the bottom of their beak. So macaws are really, really social, and it's wonderful that Amy and Angel have each other. Now they are not related, but they've been together their whole life. So sometimes we refer to them as sisters, but they are not related. So Amy and Angel here are just two of the wonderful residents that live here in the rainforest. So you should come and visit them when you visit Roger Williams Park Zoo.
Oh, Hen, I'm sorry that one didn't work out either. But you know these ambassador appointments. It's all about who you know. Stick around, we'll be right back. Can't get enough of Simply? Or just want to connect? Follow us on Instagram and let us know what you love about New England at simply.newengland. Welcome back. Next up, we head to Horizon Wings, where Henry has an interview to work at a raptor rescue. Oh, Henry, not that kind of raptor. Nice try though, bud. We'll give it a shot.
My name is Mary Beth Kaiser, and we are at Horizon Wings in Ashford, Connecticut.
Horizon Wings is a raptor rehab and educational center. We help birds get back to the wild whenever possible, and then if they can't get back to the wild, they may become ambassadors here for our educational birds.
We basically specialize in raptors, birds of prey, hawks, owls, eagles, falcons. When we get a bird in, we triage them. We'll treat them for pain, treat them for dehydration, look for specific injuries. If they are very critical, a lot of our birds will go up to Tufts for x-rays and or surgery, and then their rehabilitation process starts.
All of the birds that we have here are here because they cannot be released into the wild. Mary Beth would love to have no birds here because everybody was released, but they can't be released because their injuries are so severe. Whether it's being struck by vehicles, rodenticide, hitting windows, they are all here because they went through their rehabilitation and they can't be released. But they serve a really important function as ambassadors to people.
With our educational ambassadors, we go to schools, we go to libraries and scout groups, and the messages, it's really important, especially to the next generation, that we talk about environmental conservation, the use of rodenticides and how it impacts, the use of insecticides, what throwing trash out does, what fishing line does when you leave it behind. So it's not just, hey, here's this bird, isn't this cool? You know, everybody likes to see them, but it's why this bird is with us. Could this have been avoided if somebody had been more careful?
Even though we're not supposed to have favorites, I do have a favorite. His name is Titan. He is our resident barn owl, and he is also a curmudgeon. He is not the nicest bird that we have, but I love him because of that. I've had to work with him a lot just to get him used to me, but he's a really good program bird.
So this is Oakley, and she is a red form of the eastern screech owl, or the red phase. They come in red and gray. Oakley is another human imprint, and this is why she is so sassy. Her tree was cut down. The homeowner said she would take the birds to the Audubon. She did, but waited 2 months, and they imprinted, unfortunately, and none of those little birds could be released. Here, want that? What's that? Hello. And then we have our crows, Madison and Corbin. Madison was actually scheduled for release. We thought he was going to be releasable, but then he started to talk. So you could not release a talking crow. What are you doing? And again, like the ravens, they're just very intelligent birds. Their brain size compared to their body is the same as a primate's. So very, very intelligent, very, very social birds. I could not do this without volunteers. There's about 25 volunteers, and many people play different roles.
There's lots of different things you can do, from working on websites to cleaning aviaries to help build the aviaries.
It's a community. I always say it takes a village to do this. And it does, because it's a lot of work and you need a lot of support. It's pretty special that I get to do something like this. I think it's really special.
It's just a wonderful community of people who all share a love of nature and raptors.
So turns out dogs and hawks, not a great workplace relationship. But don't worry, Hen, all is not lost, because we got a second interview at Green Animal Topiary for their Lego exhibit. So let's change into more work-appropriate attire and head over.
We are having tonight the opening reception for Sean Kenny's Nature Connects. It's an exhibition of 15 sculptures that are made out of Legos entirely.
They all have environmental or gardening themes or conservation themes, which is something we're very much interested here in this garden in promoting.
Math is about just shy of 500,000 Legos are in this exhibition, and it took the artists about 4,000 hours to put all these sculptures together.
If you love Legos, you will absolutely love coming to Green Animals and seeing the great variety of sculpture that is here.
During our summer busy season, to exercise your legs rather than your thumbs. Don't stare at a screen. Come and enjoy nature for all its bounty and all there is to learn about it too. And that's why these exhibitions are actually really important, because coming in and just seeing horticulture and gardens is one thing, but having a way to tie it to a child that they can connect, hence Nature Connects, is underlying part of our mission. We want to educate people in subtle but fun ways, and so bringing Sean Kenny's sculptures here was an easy, no-brainer way to do so.
And I think in Rhode Island we are very fortunate to have a garden of this type. I think the show does, there's a fragility about a garden like Green Animals. There's a fragility about sculpture like these, and that sort of drives home the point that if you care about nature, you have to be very respectful of it. And you know, we are doing a lot of programming this summer with children, and we are going to be teaching not only about the garden, but we're going to be teaching environmental issues and hoping that they will walk away from green animals knowing that they have a role to play to keep this planet in good shape.
He is an incredibly talented artist. We're so grateful that he was sharing our talents with us here this summer, and we look forward to welcoming everyone through September 10th.
Henry and I are going to keep on pounding the pavement. Stick around, we'll be right back. Cox is proud to present the 238th Bristol 4th of July Parade. The parade is part of the oldest Independence Day celebration in the United States. Celebrate Independence Day with some new and familiar faces as we bring you all the red, white, and blue live from Hope and Church Street in Bristol, Rhode Island. Coverage starts bright and early as the parade officially kicks off from the ringing in from the town crier. Step through time and get exclusive coverage of the special events taking place throughout the month-long celebration, from a historic baseball game to the Little Miss 4th of July pageant, to best of all, a front seat to the excitement of the parade. So be a part of history and watch live. Keep on Cookin' is brought to you by Cranston's Wines and More. Hey folks, welcome back. Next up, Henry's got an interview here at Stone Acre in Newport. Not only are they a dog-friendly restaurant, but Henry, you've got the best nose in the biz. You go in there with your head held high. In the meantime, let's check in with Chef Nick and see what he's got cooking.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking us out. And today we're making a hot little dish that's sure to please, and that's my spicy pepperoni pizza dip. This is one of the simplest dishes we've ever made here on Keep On Cooking. Now, I'm not going to pretend to take credit for it because it's definitely making the rounds online, but today we're making it my way. So this dish is 5 little ingredients, 3 before we bake it and 2 after. To get started, I'm going to go in with some tomato sauce. I am using a spicy arrabbiata tomato sauce. I've strained off a little bit of the water so it's nice and thick. It's going to hold up very well to the bake. Now we're going to top it with some Boursin cheese. Boursin is like a creamy cheese, French. It's very heavy on garlic and herbs, which is going to go perfectly with this pepperoni pizza dip. So we're going to go in with nice chunks. You can substitute out any cheese you want. And just by putting those nice big chunks, they're going to melt perfectly when we bake this. Now, of course, you can't have pepperoni pizza dip without the star of the show, the pepperoni. I'm going to go on with a generous amount of sliced pepperoni. We want to load this up. Pepperoni has a tendency to shrink a little bit as it bakes, releases some of that fat and flavor. And so we're going to go nice and heavy because we want this to be loaded with roni. Nice even amount. Now we got to bake it. We're going to let it bake at 450 degrees for about 15 minutes. Look at those bubbles. That cheese is turned nice and gooey. It's blended in beautifully with the sauce. So you have that creaminess that's all blended together perfectly. A little spice from the arrabbiata sauce and from the pepperoni. So let's just sweeten it up a touch. How about some honey? I love adding sweet to spicy. It goes absolutely flawlessly together. That's gonna sit on top of that pepperoni. It's like pepperoni candy. And of course, no pizza's complete without some fresh chopped basil. So I'm gonna go on, load it up. Fresh, beautiful, green, vibrant, be generous. Here's your little spicy pepperoni pizza dip. All right, I don't know about you, but I can't resist. I've got to dive in. I've got some sliced baguette here that we are going to go ahead in and pull that. Oh my goodness, look at how flawless that is. Just perfect. You guys, I can't resist. I don't know what you're still doing watching. Go make this right now. And until we meet again, keep on cooking. That's good.
Hi, I'm Deidre Sharp, and you're at Horseplay. Want to let you know that on June 17th, we're having our annual open house. Everyone is invited. It's family friendly.
We're open from 12 to 4. We're going to be doing pony rides. We'll have vendors, music, some fun games for the kids.
Raffles, silent auction, refreshments, food and drink.
And it's a good opportunity for kids to come here and spend some time, with horses. The horses like doing stuff too. When they're busy, they stay out of trouble. So that's a good thing.
That's usually a very fun time, and everybody's welcome, free admission. So stop by.
Well, after a long, arduous, and ultimately unsuccessful job search, Henry's decided to take the summer and just find himself. Maybe that was his plan all along. I might do the same. Until next time, get outside, enjoy the summer, and enjoy each other. We'll see you soon. Simply New England is presented by Cranston's Wines and More and Star. Work where you love. We've been all over New England, met so many great people and animals, and tried so many new things. There's still so much to explore, and we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us and let us know what you think makes New England simply amazing. We could be coming to a town near you.